Arsenal, unbelievable yet again. It makes me feel sick seeing how good they are, seeing how good Liverpool are. But Arsenal, since this January break, have been a new level of good. They've been the best team in the world since this Dubai trip. In their last 6 games, they scored 30 goals and conceded just 7 shots. 30 goals, conceded just 7 shots. Best defensive record in the league. Most goals scored since the turn of the break. Best goal difference in the league. They're playing the best football in the league. They're absolutely dominating sides. It is crazy how ridiculously good they are. And as a Manchester United fan, it's horrible. But then I'm seeing more and more statistics like this, that they're averaging a goal every 19 minutes. Like, that's absolutely insane. They're the first team in history to score more than 5 goals in 3 consecutive away games. That's ridiculously good. But they're so unpredictable. They're so versatile. It makes me so jealous how well Arteta has built that Arsenal side. Just the flexibility. Havertz can play in midfield and attack. Odegaard in his new role, Declan Rice, he was moving further forward. With Jorginho on, Ben White can play fullback and invert into midfield. And I want to touch upon the importance of Jorginho. I do want to talk about Jorginho's role, him unlocking Rice, him unlocking Odegaard, how good Odegaard's been, how good Kai Havertz has been recently. And I do want to give Arsenal praise where praise is due. But I thought this particular statistic here was absolutely ridiculous. They've only conceded 2 chances greater than 0.1 XG in 2024. That's how good they've been defensively. Stats Bomb basically saying here, only 7 shots conceded. Like, that's how good they've been defensively. Declan Rice is an interception monster. He intercepts everything. But William Saliba and Gabriel have been absolutely immense for Arsenal. And the crazy thing is they don't have Yuri and Timber. They didn't have Zinchenko today, which would have helped the defence. They didn't have Partey until he came on. They've not really had him all season. They've not had Jesus. They're missing key players. But do you know what scares me the most as a rival? This is Arsenal without a recognised goal scorer. Arsenal are this good defensively. We've known all season that Arsenal are good defensively. The problem for Arsenal at the beginning of the season was goals. Now, I always knew the goals would come because Arsenal were creating the chances, and they've always been creating the chances. They weren't just taking it, and maybe the confidence has helped and they're starting to take it. And I think Odegaard being in that free role means he creates more. Havertz has grown and he's starting to create space. And Arsenal becoming increasingly unpredictable because Trossard and Havertz can rotate. Odegaard and Havertz can rotate. Rice can go into that left centre mid role. Now Jorginho stepped into the team and help Arsenal move the ball and help Arsenal progress the ball. And Arsenal become completely unpredictable, and I've done a video on it. But they don't even have a recognised striker. They're only going to get better and better, and that scares me as a United fan. What Arteta's done makes me so jealous. Arteta took over Arsenal at their lowest period, their worst period, where they had a lot of high-wage players. They were underperforming. They hadn't been in Europe for multiple years. The fans have fallen out of love with the club. The culture was bad. Everything was bad. They haven't won anything major in years. And Arteta comes in and he gets rid of big players like Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe even goes. He's causing a stir. He's getting rid of big players and he's bringing in people like Ramsdale and Ben White, and Odegaard was good on his loan, but they weren't those big names that Arsenal brought, and they weren't high-wage players. He brought in these young, youthful players, and he's coached them and moulded Arsenal into this brilliant team where there's so many options. Ben White's now become this brilliant fullback that can invert. Bukayo Saka's developed into a world-class player. Martinelli's been absolutely phenomenal. Jorginho was washed at Chelsea and is now so important. He was so good for Arsenal today. I'm going to talk about that. Declan Rice, I knew was going to be an unbelievable signing, but wow, Declan Rice is turning into a monster. Declan Rice's off-the-ball game has always been elite, but his on-the-ball game, his ball progression for Arsenal today was fantastic. Odegaard, he's adapted Odegaard's role where he had a bit of a spell, but that wasn't great in the early season. Odegaard's now got this 3-role where he's picking up the ball and he's breaking the lines, he's moving the ball into space, he's moving it quickly, he can dictate the game. What Arteta has done with this Arsenal side, even the controversy he got for bringing Raya and Ramsdale, look how good Raya is in build-up. Look at Saliba. He got a lot of stick for sending Saliba out alone, but look at the player Saliba's become. Saliba's arguably one of the best centre-backs in the world and could become the best centre-back in the world in years to come. Gabriel was so good. It makes me so jealous because Arteta was this inexperienced manager that everyone was writing off that, took time to settle in, but he's changed the culture at Arsenal. He's changed everything at Arsenal, but not only at Arsenal winning, Mourinho won, Conte won, but Arsenal playing this football that makes me sit there and say, I want to watch Man United play this football. This is good football. And 30 goals, back-to-back 3 away games in a row of 5+ goals, 30 goals. Man United scored 37 goals all season. They've got 30 goals in their last 6 games. That's crazy. How they're scoring goals for fun. it's easy. The way he's restructured Arsenal, the way he went away in January and thought, okay, the attack's not been potent, something isn't clicking here, and he's made some changes, and now the Arsenal attack is unstoppable. Arsenal have had the best defence in the league all season, thanks to, that core of Gabriel, Saliba, Rice. I've done videos on it. But now their attack is just clicking. 21 goal contributions for Saka, 12 for Odegaard, 10 for Martinelli, 10 for Rice. 10 for Rice. I mean, this guy, I begged Manchester United to sign Declan Rice because Declan Rice is an unbelievable player. 10 for Havertz. It's like, you have to just sit there and say, what has Arteta done? It makes me so jealous that everything I want to see is young players, good technical players, developing, scoring, a team that is dominant. You see it in Arsenal. And I think, well, the only good thing about this is I'd rather Arsenal win the league than Liverpool. Like, that's the only good thing about it. But it's just, they're unbelievable. And I want to talk about Declan Rice. I want to talk about Jorginho. I want to talk about Havertz. And I want to talk about Odegaard because they were the standout players. But Declan Rice has been playing as an inverted fullback in these last few games. And he's been really good. He's also allowed Rice and Odegaard to push up into higher positions because he's been quite comfortable covering behind them. He's won all his duels today. He completed all his passes. He scored a stunning goal. He was absolutely brilliant. But what I've noticed about Ben White is he's a really technically intelligent player. And it's a shame that he's fallen out with Southgate from an England perspective because he's honestly so good. He's very good in terms of technical ability, very good in terms of IQ, very good in reading of the game. He can act as a traditional fullback and give some width. He can play centre-back. His versatility is insane. He can invert into midfield. He can progress the ball. He's very press-resistant. He's very good in possession, but he's also good out of position. He's very good in the air, but his IQ, his ability to read the game, know when to invert, cover so Odegaard gets more of this three role. Like, he's becoming like this crazy outlet for Arsenal. He's becoming a ridiculously important player. And I was thinking, is Ben White a long-term player for Arsenal because he's being shoved at right back? He's like a cog to them. He's so important. Another player that's proving his importance, and this is where you've got to give Mikel Arteta credit, is Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz was washed at Chelsea. Kai Havertz took his time. Kai Havertz, since about November, that Lens game, you can see why Arteta's brought him and his importance. Kai Havertz's off-the-ball movement is so good because he draws out defenders. He takes defenders that aren't comfortable defending wide spaces out wide when he goes down the left to open up space for central players. Because he's tall, because he's physical, he can win balls in the air. And Arsenal, if they don't want to play it along the four and break the lines, they can avoid the press by going over the top, and Havertz can hold it up. But Havertz off the ball run has to drag a defender with him because if big centre-back has to mark Havertz because of his physicality, and if Havertz makes a run and he draws a big centre-back with him, that opens up space, and that's making Arsenal play better in the intricate play. But Havertz has been getting the goals and assists, and we can see what Havertz has been doing since about November is important. And he wasn't quite getting the stats in November, but you could see his importance. He makes Arsenal play better because Arsenal are unpredictable. And when Arsenal are unpredictable, they're really hard to defend against. And Havertz is now getting the goal contributions. I believe he's got 10 goal contributions this season. And it's mad to think players like Havertz and Jorginho that were seen as sort of washed at Chelsea, and Chelsea are 10th? Arteta's turning into these brilliant players, and that's what I think one of the things I'm most jealous of is Arteta is making all players play good. And there's no doubt that Havertz was a good player at Leverkusen, and Jorginho was a Ballon d'Or nominee for a reason. There's no doubt that they were good players, but they were seen as washed at Chelsea, and they've come to Arsenal, and they were two of the best players on the pitch. And I want to talk about Jorginho's importance. I want to talk about what Jorginho brings, because Jorginho is now sort of playing in that sixth role, and that's given Arsenal this spark in midfield because Odegaard's pushed further forward and he's now got the ball in areas where he gets more space and he can then form movements, he can dribble into space, and then he can do these quick 1-2s and he can get the ball to Martinelli. But it also means that Rice has been doing really well in a further up pitch. Rice has gone further up. Rice has actually been helping with the left centre mid issues and unlocking Martinelli and quicker things. And I feel like this Jorginho Rice pivot could almost be a little bit of glue. Jorginho, Kai Havertz and Ben White were linking up really well, but Jorginho gave Arsenal that tick. He really did. Rice and Jorginho pivot versus Sheffield United. You'd think that's a very defensive. You think that's a very defensive negative pivot. But it worked so well. Jorginho made it tick. Jorginho made it work. And I think the thing is, and I will say this about Declan Rice, I've done videos on Declan Rice, but Declan Rice is one of the only six in world football that has all the abilities to be innate, because we know that he's brilliant off the ball. He's an interception monster. He's a key reason why Arsenal have this brilliant defensive record, but he's got really good ball carrying ability. He can attack space. I mean, we've seen his crossing ability from set pieces. He can pass the ball, he can break lines, he can attack space. He can evade space from deep. He's got the quick feet. He knows how to progress the ball. He knows how to break the lines, but he's got the ball striking ability. He's got all of these traits to be innate. So when Jorginho plays, all that means is just, Rice is just playing further up, and Arsenal, I think the left centre mid role has sort of been a little bit of an issue, and I think Martinelli's now looking better when Rice is going to left centre mid role. Odegaard, because he's got those two defensive supports behind him, Ben White and Burton, now has this 3 role, and all of a sudden the Odegaards can excel, the Martinellis can excel. Declan Rice is proving that he's a really good creative player, and he's helping that left centre mid dynamic. And then Arsenal moving the ball so well, and then Kai Havertz's movement, and then his rotations with other players, and the unpredictability is one of the reasons that Arsenal look so good. And look, they're 5-6-0 up, and then they can bring Trossard off the bench. And you look at that and you think, do you know what? This Arsenal side could be champions, because since the break, they've been the best team. Across the season, I think Liverpool have been the best team, and I think what they've done with the kids is the most special. But I think since the break, Arsenal have been the best team. And now's the pressure's on. Now you've got to win every game. Now's when it counts. And Liverpool, when City play each other, they'll be looking at us saying we must win, because Arsenal are hot on their tails. Arsenal don't look like dropping points. And it's crazy, and you've got to give it to Arteta. He's built a special team. He's built a very special team. They're very technically gifted, this team. They're very good in out possession. They're very intelligent. He's built a special team that plays good football, that is scoring goals, that is defensively good, that's got the best goal difference in the league for a reason. And look, they're going to add a goal scorer to that. I mean, I'd rather Arsenal win the league than Liverpool, but it's just that as a Man United fan, when we've had our worst period and you see Arsenal like that, it's just... I'll do a video on Rice and Odegaard again, so do subscribe for that. Thank you for watching. Bye.